See, money promotes selfishness. It insists upon debts and that we keep track of this and keep track of that. And we make sure nobody gets their more than their fair share. Well, the reality is it's a deception. It's a game. Okay? We don't need money. I don't need money for me to go help somebody. I don't need money for me to share what I've got with somebody.
You know, the insanity is living in the matrix that everybody's living in, as opposed to doing the things that we know are right. Turn off the damn TV and pick up a book. Go for a walk in nature. Make love to your wife or your, significant other. Play with your kids. Rub your frickin' dog's belly.
The answer,
whatever it is, meditate and love God.
my story is a great story that I'm looking forward to telling. But the story is not quite as important as where I see myself heading. Okay. So to understand where I'm at, though, it requires a little bit of background, but just to get us forward. Today, right now, where I sit is my life is a dream. It's impossible to explain because no others have allowed me the opportunity. It's bizarre. So I'm excited. This is amazing. Live without fear is a trademark I invested some money into Live Without Fear and the web domain and the purpose behind it. My life was perfectly created. The story I've lived has included many challenges, addictions, tons of mistakes, right?
Yeah.
I took myself through hell. And I was thinking about this just yesterday. I'm living in the same home where I lived in hell with alcoholism, depression, anxiety, obesity. I was miserable and in hell in this same office. God allowed me a path out of my own hell and allowed me to pay attention. Paid attention to how I escaped my own hell. And right now, brother, right now, today, this time in human history, this is the time for us to change the directions, to change what our ancestors created and what we were born into. This is the time to create a new way, a new path for the future.
I couldn't agree more.
That's been my life. Okay. My life has been starting over from scratch, but in a better place than where I was and with new lessons and stronger than I ever used to be. And that's where I am today.
Okay. Go on.
My goals right now are to somehow, some way, because I'm not the only one saying this, right? We met for this purpose. We want a new world. We want the world to wake up.
There's so many of us out there that are
yes,
going through this same journey. Myself, it's been a lifelong journey, but it's really culminated the last 2 years. But much of your story is exactly as mine is: drugs, alcohol, depression, womanizing, sexual abuse as a child, attempted suicides multiple times, and all this while just searching for the answers that never seemed to come. Everything was always so confusing. Why was it not working? I lived in just total, hell, like you said. It was similar. Terrible divorce, blaming myself, beating myself up for all the wrongs I've done in my past and in my life, only to realize that the only, compassion and forgiveness and going back and rewriting my past. That's literally what I did. My story is I rewrote my DNA last year. And I don't know if I told you that story or not.
You please remind me.
Yeah, I had said that I think when we talked before, I had gone through this Tony Robbins seminar in December, the Date with Destiny,
That's
and
right.
went in with the idea that I was going to remove the anger and I was going to work on the one thing that I felt like was still holding me back from moving forward, reaching my success, and it was the anger and frustration I had, with myself. And I didn't know where it really stemmed from. I didn't know what the hell was causing it. I just knew I got pissed all the time. And I was just living, I'm living in this light and love, and I'm bless everybody, and the world's a great beautiful place, but on the inside I'm still like, why am I getting so damn pissed off at everything and exploding? It's like I've got to get this under control. So I went in with the single-minded focus of I'm going to figure out what it is and remove it, right? So I enter the event, and after the first day, I realized all my anger, all that frustration pent up for 41 years was from my biological father that had abandoned me and my mom at birth. And that second morning, I woke up before the event started and I went to go journal. I was going to write a letter to him. And I started to write that letter and I got one sentence in. It just lost it, just tears, crying uncontrollably for like an hour straight. And I finally get my composure, finally got everything back to normal. And it was at that moment I was like, you know what? I don't even need to write this letter. It doesn't even matter. The, the, the anger I had wasn't at him. It was about me, and this is before my DNA transformation. This is before what happened at the end of the event, but it was just all like a realization, like the only one I have to make happy and forgive is myself, and I forgive him. He doesn't have to know about it. I just forgive him through me. Um, so fast forward, we get to day 5, which is the second to last day. It's called Transformation Day. And at the end of the night, we do this exercise, meditation. We go back to our earliest childhood memory. When we do that, I go back to one that I'd forgotten all about. And it was me as a 5-year-old boy. And my mom and me, we were traveling down to Texas, Houston, I believe is where he was at the time. But we're driving down to Texas to meet him, my biological father, with what I could only imagine was attempting to bring him home, right? And give me a father, my mom, a husband. And, Tony said, now put yourself in those eyes, see yourself before you got there. See yourself as, what were you thinking? What were you feeling? What were you expecting? And I saw all of it. And then I started realizing, holy shit, I'm a 5-year-old boy and I'm getting ready to go meet my biological father. What if he doesn't love me? What if I'm not good enough for him? What if I screw up? This is all weighing on my shoulders. And I'm like, holy shit. So I realized how much pressure I put on myself, prior to getting there subconsciously. And then I'm there, says, all right, now see yourself there. What are you doing? What are you feeling? And same thing, but I'm playing on the jungle gym, the monkey bars. I'm showing off. I remember, like, look at me, look at me. And I'm thinking, if I'm really perfect and I'm an awesome kid, he's gonna come home, yay, And then it moves on, says, all right, now put yourself in the other person's mind. See what they were seeing, feel what they were feeling. So I go into my mom's mind, in her eyes, and I'm seeing the fear she had, the sadness she had. She just wanted to give me a father. She wanted love in her own life, and this man had abandoned her, had cheated on her, had just been the most horrible man in the world to her up until him leaving. And here she was, you know, giving into that, willing to take that back on just to give me a father. And I felt what she felt, and I started crying. Then he said, if there's another person there, put yourself in that person's eyes. So I went into my father's eyes, and I saw and felt his fear. He ran off to Texas to get away from us. He didn't want to be a dad. He didn't want to be a husband. He wanted to live the life he chose. And now he's being pressured to do something he didn't want to do. So I, in that glimpse and that exercise, I was able to fully see the other people's points of view, see the lies I've been telling myself about the situation and how it was all my fault, when really they both had their own shit going on and they both wanted different things, from each other, or didn't want different things. But it literally like erased everything about what I had thought that experience was. And I did that. I felt the compassion and the true forgiveness of that whole situation that had controlled my life for 41 years, right? So it blew my mind. It changed everything I possibly knew, right? I walked away from the event and I called. It took me 2 days after that, after it was over, to call my mom and to finally tell her how I felt, tell her how much I loved her. And I started off the conversation with, I love you so much. Thank you for everything you've ever done for me. I forgive you for anything you think you might have done wrong. And I go into how everything she did was exactly the way it had to be for me to become the man I am right now. Grant, so many things that she questioned herself about. And I'm just telling her she did it perfect. Look at me now. I'm amazing. I am so happy. I'm in such a place of such peace. I'm like, I'm here. And there's nothing, I'm afraid of nothing. You made me this way, and now you don't have to be afraid of anything either. You've done such an amazing job. And she starts bawling, as any mom would do. And I tell her, she says, I have something I need to tell you. Like, okay, what? She's like, I've been keeping a secret from you and everybody else in the world. Only 3 people know this secret: your biological father, your stepfather, and my uncle, who had passed away the year prior. And he took it to his grave, and both my mom, dad, stepdad, and biological father all vowed to take it to their grave as well. So I'm like, okay, go on, what is it? And she says, Robert's not your father. And she's just bawling. Robert's my biological father. Says, Robert's not your father. And, it hits me. I'm like, what? He's not my father. Wait a minute. This guy I've blamed for 41 years for all of my hell. You're telling me I did all this work this week to erase all that anger and to forgive him and to have compassion for him and for everything you've done. I erased it all a few days ago. Now you're literally telling me it's not even real. So at that moment, she goes into saying, I was afraid to tell you. I didn't know what you do after your attempted suicide at 21 years old. She couldn't, she was afraid to tell me, right? So I said, go on, that I'm good. I'm I'm at peace. I'm like, go on. I want to hear where this goes. And so she says she wanted a baby so badly that she would do anything to have one. Robert was unable to have kids. He was sterile. So he couldn't have kids. So she was looking at every option. She said she went as far as the Colombian embassy to try and adopt an orphan so she could have a child. And I stopped her right there. I'm like, wait a minute. Are you telling me the reason I get so tan in the summer and I'm the only one in my family with blue eyes, the only one in the entire family, all sizes, everybody, blue eyes, you know, I'm like, are you telling me I'm half Colombian? And she's crying. She says, no, you're not Colombian. I said, okay, well, go on. What the hell am I? Um, so then she says, well, she worked at a hospital here in the Kansas City area all of her life. And at that time, in 1978, they were doing a new experimental procedure, in vitro fertilization. And she was offered to join the experiment and be one of the test subjects. Lo and behold, my father was not an alcoholic, abusive, womanizing, abandoning piece of shit that I thought he was. My father turned out to be a medical student at the hospital who later became an actual doctor at the hospital. You know, so all the confidentiality paperwork, we don't know exactly who he is, but mom said that every once in a while she'd see this real handsome doctor walking down the hall that had my blue eyes, and she just knew that that was him. But in that like instant, my whole life changed. My entire DNA rewrote itself through the compassion and forgiveness I had just a few days prior, and that process I went through literally allowed me to rewrite my entire past, rewrite my entire DNA, and rewrite the DNA of my children. I mean, I've changed the future for myself and my children all through compassion and forgiveness. And now I have the DNA of a freaking doctor. I've got no excuse to not be smart. I've got no excuse to not succeed. I've been given genetically every opportunity now in the world to become the man I've been destined to become. And I did it literally in a phone call. I rewrote everything I ever thought about myself. So it was pretty amazing.
It is. The your story though sounds similar to one of the Buddhic tales that I've heard repeated
Yeah.
about the peasant who has the priceless pearl sewn into their clothing, wanders starving and begging for years, not knowing it was there, until finally someone points out the value of what's been within them the entire time.
Right.
They had no reason for suffering. Right, brother?
What's that? The peddler, you're absolutely right. The peddler's tale of the pearl. I'll have to look that up. That's exactly, you know, what I've come to discover is,
Yeah.
and that's the message I have to share with the world is it doesn't matter the story we've written about ourselves.
Amen. Can I jump into there?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
because similar to you, I told myself a story of my past and I beat the hell out of myself. I did.
Mm-hmm.
28, well, my path, I started drinking at 15, joined the army at 17, couple of enlistments there, got me a job at the post office because of the disabled vet title, and I scored well. I worked at the post office proudly from 99 till 2018, dedicated public servant, proud union leader for 14 years. And at the same time, I was a diseased alcoholic. I was a product of this society. And that's when I was living in hell, when I was an admired, caring father. I had half custody of our son, and I was a respected union leader. And I got sober in 16, and I gained a different perspective on myself and the world through that. What I heard you describing, that feeling, that emotion, that experience you were blessed with at the Robbins thing, okay? Because that was an experience. That was a blessing, right?
Absolutely, yes.
I experienced those small pieces, but grew larger in my life, and I spent, well, God's allowed me the last 3 years without commitments. I'm jumping around, but 2018, I recognized I was a damn good man, and I'd been beating the hell out of my life, my whole life, to get that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, hey, I'm no longer lying to myself about my drinking. What if I try to become more like the perfect one, Jesus? In 2018, I committed myself to becoming a better man, to becoming more than just a local union president, more than just active in my community. I chose to become greater than me and to become better than me.
Right.
2018, God removed all my commitments. Everyone I loved has been filled with confusion. I was misrepresented, misunderstood at the Postal Service, and wrongfully accused. I've been interrogated, punished, and terminated as a perfectly innocent man. So during that 3 years off, without an employer, without a social life, without any money to do anything in this corrupted and evil society, God allowed me a lot of time off to figure things out, right? To figure out my past. What brought me to here? What am I? Why am I here?
Yes. Good question.
Well, those are the questions God allowed me to learn answers to. And so for the past 3 years, to keep myself from going insane, I distracted myself from my problems by learning. Okay. God's allowed me 3 years off to learn, dedicated to learning from the collective. I was already a smart dude who drove myself insane in this society because I convinced myself, I lied to myself as a kid when I said I couldn't change this nation. I remember as a kid making fun of the recruiters because I knew the truth of the corruption of this nation as a child. We all do. We all know the insanity as a child, and then our authorities at schools and the authorities at the churches tell us, hey, this is what we got to do to fit in. And so we deny ourselves, we deny the truth of ourselves, and we live in a society that feels that it's okay to carry grudges. It's okay to carry resentment. It's okay to carry guilt, and it's not. Those things are unhealthy.
Absolutely. They're only hurting ourselves.
I mentioned my forward thought and where I sit today. I have the strength and the peace that you're describing that I'm hearing from you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I have that same peace and confidence, but I have been blessed with solutions, learned of solutions, alternatives to the capitalist system.
Okay.
I personally have the goal. We have thousands of people talking about, millions of people standing up around the world saying, hey, enough is enough. We need solutions. And our government officials, our leaders are not, they're not going the right direction. So my goal, what I am trying to achieve, I want to find a way to create the opportunity to speak with both the past administration and the current administration of the United States government. I want to speak to Donald Trump and to Joe Biden and the other citizens of the American government and remind them why They are compensated by our tax dollars, what job they are actually there to do. They are not there to waste their lives and our time and our lives and our lives' conditions fighting day to day. They are there to figure out the problems, figure out the solutions. And here's the reality, truth. To get back to what you described, you felt and experienced the power of truth, my brother. When we wake our minds up to the truth, it connects to our heart of understanding. And that's where those emotions come from, is our spirit.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I believe I was fired from the post office as a perfectly innocent man as a message. I believe that the Live Without Fear, the trademark, that name, that message was not secured. No one owned it. It's mine. It's registered under Jack Talcott. I can't believe that.
That is insane in and of itself, that nobody has ever even had that idea or that thought, oh, I'm going to trademark Live Without Fear. Congratulations.
When I invested in it, I imagined myself merchandising it, licensing it, making millions of dollars for the purposes of course, being debt free for myself, but then funding nonprofits like Charity Water. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're providing water to people, in clean water to people in places like Africa.
Yeah, I'm familiar with them. Yeah.
Our world right now, this is the time it's been predicted, the time of the prophecy. The Mayans predicted it, the ancient ones predicted the change in the collective, the change in the world.
Yes, they did.
I never thought that I would ever be one promoting God. You too.
Never in a million years. If you would have
Here,
asked me 2 years ago, I'd call myself a fruitcake, hippie, spiritual, who knows what. But the fact is, I couldn't be more blessed and grateful that I've gone through this, because it allows us to see the truth and the light of what this game's all about. And it's not the rat race. It's not the control and the fear and the manipulation that we've been preached and taught. Like you said, we've been indoctrinated. The fact is, we've been indoctrinated for thousands of years. This isn't just a one generation, two generation thing. What you got something to say?
You just said it spot on. One of the many brilliant minds I've recently come across is Dr. Gabor Mate, psychologist out of Canada. He is putting out some incredible insight into trauma. And the reality is right now, we were born into insanity. Our society is insane, right?
Yeah.
This system of hierarchy and authority, the illusions of wealth and authority that divide us and make us feel insecure and fearful. Wealth and authority have driven people insane from the beginning of time.
It's more than wealth and authority. It's service to self that has been hijacked. Service to self, the few wanting service to self have hijacked humanity and the true purpose of why we're here. This is our purpose of why we're here, is to fight through the darkness, to fight through the negative, the few negative. That just shows you how powerful negativity is, when it's just a handful that can manipulate and control the entire population. Now, God and light are so strong, it'll just obliterate negative and darkness instantly, nearly. But it shows you how powerful a stranglehold it has in the manipulation, in the brainwashing of humanity. You know, it one bad thought, one manipulative thought can easily drive a person, you know, for years, as opposed to understanding and finally seeing the truth. Once you see the truth, television sucks to watch. I don't turn on the radio. I don't put anything in my mind anymore that I do not purposefully want there. I love watching videos. My wife and me were on Game of Thrones. We've taken us all these years to actually watch it, and we watch 1 to 2 episodes a night and freaking just love it. But I know what it is. We pause all the time throughout every show we ever watch. It's like, oh, deep state programming, oh, more manipulation. You know that they just, when you know the truth, you can easily see through the veil and through the lies, and it has no more effect on you. You can laugh about it. You can empathize. It makes me feel, as an intuitive, it makes me feel sadness, you know, in a lot of ways because I see it, I know it, it's right there in front of our face, and people unfortunately can't awaken to it, so they're still slaves. And it's like, why can't I just help wake up the world?
So exactly. So let's carry that through too. We see the problem, we see it being created, and we know the effects of it.
Mm-hmm.
So when we step back into, you know, the ascension, raise our consciousness and look at everything from the big picture, right? This
From the
game,
million mile view.
right. Through the biggest picture, this game of life is a game that God created. Okay, now darkness, their role, their job is to create confusion and to try and mislead and to try and control.
Mm-hmm. They are just as much vital in God's plan as we are.
Yeah,
Just without
but
the negative, the positive, the balance, it has to be there.
yes, but in the biggest picture too, we do not have to allow this to continue. So the only way to confront the stuff, the evil that's being produced and spread into our media, the only way to stop that is for our fellow citizens to stop obeying their employers, right? This society has mistaught Americans the free world to become obedient. Good children, good students, good taxpayers, good consumers, good producers, BS.
It's a reward system, just like Pavlov's dog.
Reward and punishment.
They reward us just enough with just a big enough paycheck to pay the bills, but to not really live life. They give us the dream of what it could be,
Yes.
but they keep it just far enough from our reach. And therefore, we're always caught in that. Just keep trying a little harder, maybe tomorrow, maybe next year, one of these days. And what does that do? It leaves us in the idea, the thought of wanting and hoping. And when you want and you hope, you're creating more want and hope instead
And
of living in
ignore.
a place of certainty that
Yeah.
I am abundant. I'm here. I have it. It's coming to me. When God brings it, it'll come, you know, and removing that fear of what if and start living as if.
That's right. And I am. I am here. The future is not guaranteed. I am here.
Correct.
So
there is no past. There is no future. There is only right now.
yes.
What are we going to do with it? What are we going to create?
Yes. Now is the time. I want the specific audience. I want the specific audience of the citizens, the American citizens who right now today have the authority. 230 plus million Americans have given over their rights and their authority and their decision-making choice to those people to decide how we are dealing with everything.
Mhm.
And right now, today, I'm watching the news, man. There's entire nations that are facing famine because of drought. And America right now throws away more food every single day. We got to change. We got to change the methods of distribution throughout the world. We need to end the suffering that humans have created. They're unnecessary.
They are.
So we have the solutions. I had this conversation with a friend here in Spokane yesterday. We have the solutions right here. If the American legislators work towards one goal, work with the other global leaders, end conflicts, no more fighting, we can figure this out. We've got a climate that is changing, and we need to find new ways to look out for each other. Okay, there's floods everywhere. This world is changing. So
What up? You keep going back to the legislature.
yes, it exists now.
It exists currently, but it does not exist in the manner in which it was designed.
Exactly. Well,
What's happening now is a travesty on the Constitution. People were supposed to be elected, your respected community leaders, elected and sent to Washington for one term, served their 4 years, maybe 8 years, but you came back home to your community and you retook, you started, you were a doctor, you were an attorney, you were whatever, a business owner. You picked up where you left off, but knowing you had to come back to that community, you did what was right for that community and you didn't do what was right for your pocketbook because you're going to have to answer to them. And I think what's happening now, this isn't a legislative anything. This is a people. We, the people, have the power. We, the people, will rise up and take back our power, not in a revolutionary way, in a uniting way that the truth continues to come out. The technologies that have been around since Tesla are longer. The free energy.
right, right. Can I explain? You're saying we shouldn't go to the top, and this is the reason I'm the top. It is. It's the top of the power structure. And the reason I want to speak with the citizens of the American government is because they have the connections, dude. They can connect us to the media, and with the cooperation, the solutions for the world, for the nation, for families, and for ourselves individually, the key for our own success, the key for our own happiness is collaboration, cooperation, and sharing. We are tribal and social animals who have been taught that everyone is in it for themselves. And so that's the reason we have these people who get into positions of authority. They're afraid to lose power because then they'll be subjects and they'll be worthless like everybody else who doesn't have authority. So then that's when the ego comes in.
It's a protection. I've learned over the last year or so, I don't blame those in power.
Mm-mm.
I don't hate those in power. I feel sorry for those in power because what they do, most of them are doing because they truly believe what they are doing is right for them in their own mind. In their own mind, I have to do this for my family. I have to do this for my protection. They may be blackmailed. They may be bought out. They may just be ignorant. But whatever they're doing, in their mind, it is the right thing to do for them. If that makes sense.
It does, but it's not even only about them. See, and here's where my experience, well, I was only I was only a small local union president, you know, roughly 300 plus members. It's not a big local, but for me, I carried the weight of that local on my shoulders. I cared about the job that I did, and I did not know what the hell I was doing. Okay. I was fed up at who did it before. And so I said, yeah, I'll try. I'll do a better job. And I tried killing myself while I was doing it, but the experience as a leader allows me to imagine myself in their seats. Okay.
Mhm.
I detest the dishonesty and the boss-like behavior of Donald Trump. Okay. But he rose to the position of the most powerful symbol of America because he represented America. Selfish, capitalist, very successful, ruthless, did what he needed to do to get to the top. That has become the American way. But he did not know what he was doing. So any leader is going to rely upon those around him.
Right.
An honest leader will go to those who know the most, but an egotistical or a successful leader in an immoral society like we have, those successful people know to get people who will tell them what they need to hear to get away with what they want to do. Make sense? It's
Yeah. I've always, with Trump, I voted for him simply being a business owner myself.
Mhm.
Business owners get shit done. Business owners know how to take the best and the brightest ideas and the minds around them, and they absorb it all, and then they make the right choice based on all the information, as opposed to yes men. Here, you just surround yourself. You've been a politician all your life. You don't know anything but yes men, backfighting and stabbing. So these, the difference between Trump was, I think he really took everybody's advice, analyzed it as a CEO would do. Your marketing department says this strategy, your sales department says this strategy, so on and so forth. And then as a CEO, you have to decide with the best info you have what the next step should be. And that's where he, I think, was great at what he did.
You're right.
Do that more than normal politicians that are bought and paid for, and they have constituents to answer to.
He also did a good job of exposing a lot of things that needed to be seen.
And
And the thing about him, I hold no respect for him as a leader, none whatsoever. But I know for a fact that he connected to the hearts of many people that I respect and admire. So that tells me that they saw enough in him to trust him.
right.
And that is actually why I want to include him in the future is, I think God's been using him for a purpose as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. God's using all of us for a
Right.
purpose.
His
He,
his views might not align with yours, and you and I might not think similarly when it comes to him, but God's using him in a purpose for sure. And he is
his path,
the darkness that's out there.
his path has been different than mine, obviously different than yours.
Right? I don't see a
But
gold-plated chair and things around.
no, dude, I got an unfinished office. That's why the projector screen. I got insulation and studs back there.
Hey, you're in the middle of a build out, right? So you are like Donald Trump.
Hey, yeah, yeah. Well, the thing about him though, when I was 17 and I joined the army, I was a nationalist and a proud capitalist and all of that other stuff, just like him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My education since then, I've been allowed to learn different things. And so he was a product and sitting in the position of power as a capitalist. Now, one of the problems with capitalism that has never been addressed or really properly discussed, as far as I can tell, is with capitalism, the structure of the money system and private gain and private pursuit of private acquisition, it creates what's called a moral dualism within our minds. And so these CEOs are then, they're tempted with, do I chase profits or do I be honest about the truth? You know, do I chase profits and market, or do I, you know, cut some jobs, or, you know, so the system in itself, it creates a temptation, and evil exists within the system. And the way evil exists and the way our leaders get misinformed in the government is secrets, dude. We've got taxpayers are paying fellow citizens in this nation are providing for their families, paying for their children's education by keeping secrets from the public and telling lies to the masses. Okay. So if America would end legal secrets, we'd end the compartmentalized government projects. And, you know, in the realm of consciousness, of duality, truth, dark and illusion, deception, our nation was built upon secrets and lies. Any human built on secrets and lies has no integrity.
Right. They're self-serving.
They're ready to fall. Our nation is ready to fall because we are so divided, and we are so divided as a nation because we have dishonest leaders.
I can agree with all of that. I want to go back to the idea of capitalism.
Please.
You're talking about. It's, in my opinion, it's the idea that capitalism is evil, or that it plays into the evil of society, is one of the big lies we've been told. The people that are the leaders of the big businesses that make up what we see as capitalism, they are just as much at fault with the lies as the politicians and everybody else. The fact about capitalism is it's the greatest economic, socio-economic driver the world has ever seen, because it allows for innovation. It allows for the ability to make something better, and the public will decide what it is. If it's good, they'll buy it.
Can we debate this?
Sure. So, write down whatever you want to rebut with. The idea of capitalism is evil. Wrong. God wants us to have abundance in anything we desire. Money's great. Having billions of dollars is great, because having billions of dollars means I get to do that much more for society. The money and the power of the top people running the capitalistic society, that's the problem. It's not the system, it's the people running the system, because money in the right hands changes the world, and it provides drinking water in Africa. It feeds the world. It gives better working conditions for people when the market sustains it. You're shaking your head, but you're not. I don't feel like you're hearing me through on it.
I've listened to the pro-capitalist garbage my entire life.
What makes you think money is? Let's start there.
Money is not evil. Money is energy, just like all things. All things are energy. Therefore, if all things are energy, why would we be selfish? Why would we be hoarding? Why would we believe there's any sort of separation between one human being and another? The only reason we require money is because people lied to us and said it had value. Money actually has zero value. We live in a world of fiat currency, which is not, the money is actually all it is. All money is accounting in ledgers. Okay. So,
Money is only the way we currently trade value for value.
yep,
Capitalism in general is
money,
trading a value for a value. You don't have to put money on it.
money actually eliminates the value. It creates a disconnection. When you go to the store and you purchase something, you're not thinking about the employees that produce the product or the planet where the product came from. You're thinking about the dollars in your pocket. So it creates a distraction from reality. All of our conflicts throughout history have not really been for resource. Well, it's been for resources, for the massing of wealth, not for the distribution to the people.
No,
So when
power of those in charge.
So when people say capitalism has promoted growth, I do not deny that. Selfishness creates ingenuity, and look at what we have created. We charge people money for water these days because we're poisoning the other water, and we're destroying our planet because we think everything has value as money. So if we eliminate the money and we focus actually on value, what value can a corporation provide to the community for the cheapest use of resources and the cheapest use of energy and the cheapest use of employee energy? If we didn't have the top-down power structure of our corporations and our governments, all employees would have an equal voice in the direction of the organizations, in the way that the work is performed. I mean, think about the bigger concept of capitalism, how our corporations are formed versus the concept of democracy. Okay, the concept of democracy, the power is supposed to be in the masses. We know that's not the truth in this nation because every time a new boss is selected into office, the laws and rules are always changing. Well, if the laws and rules are changing based on the boss that's in the seat, then those are not just laws. That's evidence of tyranny.
Of course.
And so if the only way that tyranny and frankly capitalism profit and thrive is through obedience and control and manipulation.
It doesn't have to be. I can tell you that. There are companies out there that provide profit sharing. There are companies out there that have work environments that are so incredible, but the problem lies in the bottom line with some companies and the drive that almighty dollar. Again, there's nothing wrong with wanting to get rich and have as much money as you can. It's just in the wrong hands. Trillions of dollars.
Okay, so
each day around the world, and meanwhile we're going to an office. People are going to office jobs and factory jobs to work for pennies, in the grand scale of things. So don't get me wrong. I'm on your side with the imbalance that's there.
The thing about it, there's different things, and every time I speak against capitalism, and thank you, you did not do it. Most people bring up the past atrocities of the attempts at communism and socialism that have been made, but there has never been a fair attempt for a social structure to succeed within the world because American taxpayers, our tax dollars have paid for the overthrow of over 50 different democratically elected nations since World War II. Over 50 governments have been overthrown by our tax dollars. Many of them because they were promoting taking away power from our plantation corporations, right?
Right.
It's all the conflict, all the human conflict has been created based on money. There's a guy named Jacques Fresco. He was a social engineer and a brilliant man out of the 70s. He started the Venus Project.
Okay.
The idea of the Venus Project is a resource-based economy. And it's brilliant. And this is what I want to bring to the leaders who can make the choices. If our tax dollars funded something like a resource-based economy, where we use science and technology to determine what resources are available. And if globally, this is the vision I see, globally, if human beings around the world, if we stopped fighting for profits and territory, if we shared knowledge, shared the best practices, shared technology, and shared resources. If we made food freely available, organic, natural food freely available in every community, and every community shared time and labor with the local farmers, if we work together, we could eliminate the jobs that are created simply for regulation.
Absolutely.
Simply for profits.
Talking about is the new world that's coming. This isn't a hope or a dream. This is where we're headed. You're familiar with Nasara and Jessara, right? From all the research and everything I've learned and I've seen and what I hear coming down the pike, full disclosure's coming. Those in power that have been corrupted and that have run this world for thousands of years are getting ready and are in the process of being removed. The world will be set right again. The balance of power will be equalized. The money, which there are hundreds of trillions of dollars in the world that we just don't know about because it's only in the hands of a few. When that is redistributed equally, the world and the cancer drugs, the cures are out there. We don't have to worry about dying anymore from illness. The idea of what happens is we now have sustainable communities. We're not putting all this money to big pharma. All the doctors, they don't have to heal people anymore because we have the way to do that. So now what can we do? Those people get to research and develop and come up with new cures and we won't even need it. They can go deeper and deeper into universal shit, right? In addition, the businesses that are out there, people will no longer be driven by price. They'll be driven by what they want, what's best, what the best option is. And the money's not going to be an issue either. There's going to be plenty to flow for everybody, and there's going to be options of everything.
We won't need money when people share.
Need a way.
It's really that simple.
Money is only a transaction.
Why do you have to keep track? Money promotes selfishness. It insists upon debts and that we keep track of this and keep track of that. And we make sure nobody gets their more than their fair share. Well, the reality is it's a deception. It's a game. Right. Okay. We don't need money. I don't need money for me to go help somebody. I don't need money for me to share what I've got with somebody.
Okay.
I've changed, right? Our society can change.
Right.
Every human alive today is a product of the environment they experienced until now.
Agreed.
I've heard of the Nasara, I've heard of the Jessara, I've heard of many, many different things, many projects, many things that are being supposedly revealed, supposedly done, but here's the reality. I'm not part of those yet.
None of
Now,
us.
well, and
Yes.
that's just it. I don't trust behind the scenes. I don't trust what I cannot verify. I don't trust what comes from the world.
I don't,
And
none of us should trust anything that's coming
a
from anybody that is in power right now. That's the
amen.
thing. This is not a battle of, you know, convincing a few people to vote this way or change this. This is a total eradication and removal of the system. The entire matrix has to be shut down. Everything will change. And it's people like us and the many millions upon millions around the world that are vibrating now at this frequency, that are now in the alignment of ascension. And we're making our way into creating this new earth, this new world, this 5-dimensional or 5 density world that we're already transitioning into. We've been in the 4D world for who knows how many thousands of years. The 3-dimensional or third density is just, that's like the starting phase. Now we're in the 4D and we're actually transitioning into 5th D, which is the wisdom phase. We're just in the illusion of time and space and caught up in this game. And it's all just starting to come down like this to a point. And when that point reaches its tipping point, when the majority of the population is vibrating at this frequency, it only has to be 51%. Once we tip that scale and the vibration reaches that level, everything changes. And it changes like that. We're creating our reality. None of us are really here. We're only a video game perception of what we're doing right now. This conversation is just made up in our minds and we're doing it. And it's
No.
while we're at that vibration, the other people aren't at that vibration yet. So we have to have that collective begin to start vibrating in harmony with us. And when we begin to vibrate in that harmony, we can then start to learn and understand how to create realities instantaneous. I want to be on a beach. I want to be on a yacht. I want to be here. I want to be there. I want to do this. I want to do that. Instantaneous, we can be there doing that once we transition from this reality, because we no longer are confined by time and space in the physical world. We're now able to harness the power of God gave us to create through our imagination what it is we want. Everything's possible thanks to quantum physics. Any reality can exist at any moment in time, but we haven't figured out how to go there, how to pinpoint that one little dot and jump to that spot, right? So that's where I see where we're headed is this collective consciousness as it grows, as we raise this vibration, we're going to start discovering these powers that you and I have already begun to discover. Have I rewritten my DNA? Yes. Have I transurfed and jumped realities and dimensions? Yes. I've created things that I never thought were possible literally overnight. And we're getting ready, I think, to transition into the next few hundred years of learning this. We're going to have med beds. We're going to have things to where we no longer, illness and sickness won't exist.
How?
How? When the powers that be are removed and the order is restored. And
How are they going to be removed? How are they going to be removed?
There's a plan. Trust in God. Know that we're
okay. All right. So let's continue that. Let's continue that train of thought because I like what you said, trusting God. So God, who creates all things, creates all opportunities and consequences, has created our opportunities of today.
Correct. The moment we're living in right now, He's allowed us to create.
If you can accept my reality for what I believe it is, what I believe my reality is that God allowed me to be a tool for most of my life and to be a damn good product of this society. And then God allowed me to become inspired by Dr. King originally. With my union background and listening to him, he died for workers, not just for black people. He died for peace. Mm-hmm. Listening to Dr. King, he inspired me to turn to Jesus and try and be more like him. But I wouldn't turn to the Bible. So I turned to science and psychology and history and all sorts of amazing things I've been studying. My goal was inspired to become a man like Jesus. And if I carry that through, if I become a man like Jesus alive today, what should I do? Well, it seems to me that I should probably try and have a conversation with the people who are responsible for representing me towards the rest of the world. The leadership we have allowed in the United States Capitol is unacceptable. It's disgusting. It's reprehensible.
Okay.
I believe God is writing another version of a Jesus story. There's many people alive right now who think they're saying they are Jesus. I'm not saying that, right?
It's okay if you want to, because Jesus is within each of us.
It is. Yeah, thank you. Yes.
We are Jesus. We are God. We are
yes.
all one. If you think of the sun as a billion, if they have what, 7 billion people on Earth, all the sun is 7 billion matches, all shining lit at the exact same time. If you take that one match out, it's still all one big sun. I mean, we're all just one little dot of that sun. We're all one dot of God. And the people that say we're not God or we're not Jesus, they're the ones promoting the lies, and they're the ones withholding the truth from humanity. All the religions say the same thing, the same underlying secrets of how to live life. And all they tried has been done for thousands of years is to suppress those secrets and to tell the people what they need to do, not what they should really be doing. What they need to do to control them: read this verse, read that verse, believe this, believe that. But what they're not telling people is you don't need any of their shit. You just need to learn to go within yourself and find Jesus within you, which is your imagination. Your imagination unlocks the doors to everything. You want the people in Washington to be removed because they're terrible. You're the one that can control that, and it's all right here. You can literally wake up tomorrow in a whole different reality. All of us can. It's the accepting of it that it's possible is the struggle that keeps us right here and not moving forward. Like God said, there are many kingdoms, there are many mansions in my kingdom. There's an infinite number of realities. We just hold ourselves back from accepting the truth because what we've been told is that that's not possible. But you and I are living proof of what is possible and what's not. And there's a lot of us out there that are waking up to the truth of what's possible. And it starts within here, and it comes from here. And it doesn't come from any place else. And this is all we have right here. And God is right here. Jesus is right here and right here.
There, yeah.
It's all part of everything, right?
The way, yes, the beautiful. The way I explain us and Jesus and God through infinite intelligence, infinite love, and infinite patience throughout time created life and eventually us. Mm-hmm. God is intelligent love. Jesus walked as conscious love, wisdom and compassion, wisdom and care. That is what we are. Mm-hmm. So right now we live in a world of confusion because no one really cares or knows what is true. Everyone's got their different beliefs, and it's okay to have different beliefs. You believe whatever you want. Well, unfortunately, believing in lies means that we live in delusion. We don't live in reality when our mind does not match what's out there.
Right. The veil is clouded, so to say.
Well, and obedience continues when people are in denial about how powerful they are.
Mhm.
And
That
we
that is what my mission and my purpose in life
to
is to
remind people of their power.
through my story is to teach people how powerful we are, and our imagination is all there is. And with my own personal story, through compassion and forgiveness, we can then learn to imagine not our past, but our future, and live in the current moment and imagine the beauty and the wonder and the amazement and the love we're going to bring to the world. When you begin to imagine that from a place of compassion, from love, forgiving your past, don't let your past cloud your future and your present moment. We have to we have to separate the two and be present right here, right now. Learn to love, learn to forgive, learn to be compassionate, and learn how powerful we are to create. We are creators. We are one of God's creators because we are God created.
Amen. We were imagined and created so we could imagine and create our future.
Amen. Indeed. It's exact. God is living through our eyes every moment of every day. And when we're not creating the most amazing fantasy, that's sinning. Sinning isn't
It is.
disobeying one of the made up rules that those in power created to keep us in power. Sinning is when we are letting God down from the potential and possibility that He gave us to create anything. He said, here's your paintbrush. Go fucking paint whatever reality you want. It's yours to do. And meanwhile, we've been so beaten down and brainwashed into believing that you can't control shit. You will wake up tomorrow, you will go to your 9 to 5 job, and you'll repeat it all over again. That's your life. You should pray for God for forgiveness, so maybe one day you'll go to heaven. All bullshit. Heaven's right here on earth. Heaven begins when we allow ourselves to realize how powerful we are. Create the reality we want, not the one we hope for, not the one we pray will come, the one we believe has already happened, and the one we know is coming. It's just God's in control of the time. We're infinite beings. There is no time here. We say, hurry up, get this shit over with. I'm tired of all the political bullshit. I'm tired of all of this. I've had to breathe many times over the past 5 to 10 years. I've been following what's going on behind the scenes for 5 to 10 years. And I always have to remind myself it's not on my timeline. It's the way it has to be, for just like my entire life. I told my mom everything that happened was the way it had to be to make me the man I am. This is our story. This is the movie and the script we've all written. And this is the exact way, as painful and as much bullshit as it is, this is what had to be done for you to wake up, for me to wake up, for all the rest of them to wake up. This is our chance. But we don't get to control everybody else's awakening. We just have to continue to practice what we know so that when they're ready to ask the questions, they're ready to find out more about what we've learned. We get to be the guides. We get to be the teachers. We get to be the healers and the ones that help us move into this new world when that time comes. It may be 2 months. It may be 10 years. It may be 100 years. But
Well,
it's coming.
I believe that we have a major part. We get to choose what part we play, and we get to choose the timing. We get to choose when we attempt. We don't get to choose when we succeed.
Correct.
Because, like you said, 3 years ago in 2018, I committed myself to God, and I lost everyone from my life who I loved.
Right.
Everyone.
I know the feeling.
I lost my income, my credit score. I lost my career. I lost my reasons for living until I chose a reason to die. Okay. And so I became willing to die in order to try and convince our leaders to stand up to the Federal Reserve. And I'm fully prepared to, well, I don't know what the future is going to hold. My retirement is dwindling fast. I'm still seeking support and seeking my path.
Mm-hmm.
But I set a goal to become a man like Jesus. I don't know what the second coming is, and I make no claim to be he. However, I do believe that our actions here will be rewarded and will be supported by our Father Creator. And so I am a man today, just like Jesus. I worship with the dedication and love and overwhelming love and humility to our Creator. And I live without fear. I fear nothing on this land anymore. I won't allow it.
There's nothing to fear.
So I am trying. I'm trying to somehow, there's a lot of YouTubers and truth speakers out there right now. They are God's army in the clouds. Okay. If applying the metaphors, right? The army of Christ is in the clouds right now online. Yeah, our technology. I'm trying to become a leader of that army, trying to collaborate and get the solution shared. Because if we reach the masses with this solution, everyone use the system and what's available. Flood. Don't take it as a joke. Flood your congressman's offices. Emails, phone calls, make them so damn busy listening to their constituents that they don't have time to pass any more damn laws until they figure out what the real problems are. So we can use the systems to connect and reach those human beings who can make those decisions.
Absolutely.
So if we can get the word out, that's one method. Another method, and it does not have to be me, but I believe I was created for this purpose. I am fully prepared to go stand where others would not stand. And I'll go address every one of the leaders of America and tell them what we expect from them. We expect righteous leadership with integrity. We expect them to become willing to die in order to make this nation a better place.
They won't, not like us.
Then they can get the hell out of the way, because we'll find other humans from their areas who will step into their jobs. And tell you what, I bet many people would do it without fees, without charge, if neighbors took care of their mortgage, took care of their families and whatever, so they wouldn't lose their crap.
Right.
Any one of us could go do that damn job.
No shit, right? It isn't that hard. It's doing what's right, right?
It is, but it's been perfectly designed. The way trauma works with us when we're kids is we detach from our true self. We're told we can't be that, we got to be this, whatever. And we detach from ourselves, and it's a survival mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
But as adults, we're children walking around with these unresolved traumas, lashing out at each other and judging each other. And we're literally insane, man.
Or there's no need to, we're all injured children
We are.
that don't have a clue what's really going on. So a lot of us are waking up to what's going on, but we still don't really have a clue what's going on. And the fact is, there's no need to lash out at anybody and to be be angry, upset, anything with anybody, because everybody is us pushed out.
We're one. We are one part of one illusion.
Whoever I perceive myself as being angry at, it's not, they don't even exist. I'm creating this person to be angry at because I have something to learn inside that I haven't figured out yet. Everything we're doing is just, can we pass the next grade level? Can we pass that level? And it's like, we can't get past the idea that everybody's separate. They're not. They're all us. We're all one. So we just keep creating more obstacles and more bullshit and more people to be angry with and more arguments. And the fact is, no, we don't. What are we arguing with? We're that scared little child inside we're arguing with, we're running from because we can't get a grip on our reality of what we truly are. We're we're in the process of remembering. We're awakening from our dream and we're trying to put the pieces together, but it's confusing as hell. It's scary as hell for most people. And we're just like, fuck it, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back to sleep now so I can just wake up tomorrow and do my 9 to 5 job because that's more comforting than trying to fathom that none of this is real and everybody's me, and it's a lot of work for most people.
Dude, it's funny you say that because I probably would have. I I don't know what would have happened, what I would have chosen if I'd have tried to go back and fit into 3D or not, but dude, I had no options. It was figure this out or end it.
I always have used oh, how our reality works, right? And if it's a straight line like this, and every time we make a decision, we can either go left or right, right? So each time we go right or left, we go off course a little bit, and then we're back like this. And then we can either choose to get back on course, or we can make another left or right, and now we're over here and here's the main course, and before you know it you're too damn far off, and all it takes, if you think of angles, just 1 degree off doesn't cause much now, but if you continue on that 1 degree for 5 years, 10 years, next thing you know you're way off course, and it seems so hard to get back on the course, right? But for you, in that exact, you said you couldn't go back. It was like the wall was shut. You were over here trying to correct course, and literally you had like a roadblock over here. It's like, nope, you're going back here, and you're like, I can't divert anymore. I want to go back here. It was comfortable over here. At least it felt like it. It's like, nope, you got slammed back into the reality of your timeline, right? And it's like, no, God said, this is your purpose. You can't go back. Figure it out, step up, own it, live without fear, and let's freaking start doing what I put you here to do. You've wasted enough fucking time. You've drank enough, you've drugged enough. Get the shit together. I put you here for
well, I said those things to myself, believe me.
Yeah, me too.
And I was actually thinking, I don't remember the exact time, but I do know for a fact that when I after I secured Live Without Fear, there was nights, man, I was like, well, you own that, Jack. You better be living it. What's your problem, buddy?
Right?
And it was a motivation for me to get through some pretty dark times. But man, I'm living right now. I don't know, all honesty, I do not know what the hell is going on in my life. I'm still trying to reunite with my 18-year-old son, with the woman I dated for over 5 years. I'm hoping for her friendship again. My mother won't talk to me. My friends won't talk to me. I still can't get the people at the post office to explain why they chose to end my career without an arbitration and without even a conversation.
Mhm. And we've discussed that, it's whether you ever get a resolution or not on it. You may not. But if we go to the viewpoint of there's only you and everything's pushed out, is you pushed outwards, what is the true meaning and purpose of the people at the post office existing in their way that they've attacked you, that they've done what they're doing? If they're just you manifested, what's the real purpose of it? Maybe you never reconnect with them. Why is
Oh,
your mom pushed you away? Why have all these people pushed you away? Is it that they've done that, or is it still what you're having to learn? Is it what you part of
I
your
don't know.
learning?
Until they explain their behavior, I have no way of knowing. And see, and that's just it. I've received very irrational, illogical, obvious ego responses from them. So the way I see it, you know, I've already credited God for everything that's happened with me, for me, and through me. However, my friends and family would rather hold in their minds and their hearts that I am an evil and horrible person who doesn't deserve any support. I need help, according to them. I'm mentally unstable. And please keep in mind, let me drop this too. Now that we've had a little time to talk and everything,
Yeah.
according to public records, fuck, there's so many accusations against me on public records, man. It's not even funny. According to public records, I am too dangerous to work at the United States Postal Service.
Being on this call with you in our previous call,
It's crazy.
it's ridiculous.
Thank you. This is God. God is hilariously revealing stuff through me. I am confident of this.
Yeah,
And so as far as my mom and everyone else, they're suffering.
they are. They're
They,
suffering insanity that we started off talking about. The insanity isn't finding truth in the light, the love, the compassion, and walking God's word. That's
right.
insanity. The insanity is the manipulation and going through the motions of the 9 to 5, living paycheck to paycheck, being stressed out 24 hours a day. The insanity is that the average person, American, watches, I think, 4.5 or 6 hours of television a day. The insanity is people eat fast food and 70, 60, 70% of the population is obese. This is the insanity that people are living in. I have 10% body fat. I literally
Dude,
work out. I create the body of my dreams. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm not obese. Why? Because I track my calories. I know what I eat. I work out. I take care of myself because I enjoy it. One, number two, I have a purpose and a mission in life, and I can't be on stages helping people. I can't be doing the things I need to do if I can't breathe, if I'm freaking overweight and obese, if I have to have knee replacements because my body falls apart on me. The insanity is living in the matrix that everybody's living in, as opposed to doing the things that we know are right. Turn off the damn TV and pick up a book. Go for a walk in nature. Make love to your wife or your, significant other. Play with your kids. Rub your frickin' dog's belly. Go
The
play,
answer,
whatever it is. Meditate and love God. Turn
the
off
common, the,
television.
the common and normal excuse is, I don't have time.
And why is that? Because we've been made to believe that the reality we live in is this 9 to 5, paycheck to paycheck,
We've been brainwashed
brainwash.
successfully. They did a brilliant job, dude.
It's the most amazing job in the history of the
Yes.
universe, I think. They literally are looking down, laughing, going,
Yes.
Jesus Christ, how? Or they,
How did we get away with this one?
I mean, we literally sent this guy 2,000 years ago to tell them what was going on, and now they're even worse off. They're literally,
Oh, yes.
they're all walking around with blindfolds on. They're like, okay, I guess we got to go back and show them the spaceships and land and take over and reveal the truth to them because these morons can't figure it out for themselves.
It's up to us to fix ourselves. We've
right.
got to. And hey, as far as why everyone else is like that with me, I don't know. But here's what I do believe. My goals were perfectly inspired based on my past, and my future goals are still, they're perfectly inspired and aligned by what has happened. I've been tested. I know for a fact I've been tested in my life, and I know for a fact I've worked damn hard at overcoming many, many things. I feel rewarded. Okay? I have to walk through the logic in my own head every single day. Okay, Jack, this is your reality. You got no schedule. You're current on your obligations. You got money in the bank. You got, the world is at your disposal. What do you want to do? I literally can't pay people to spend time with me. I said it.
Got to do it virtually right here because this is a lot of fun.
Well, this is, the timing of this is beautiful. My hope, I've been wrong so many times before pursuing my goals, and I failed so many times, but I'm not done. I'm not a failure because I'm not done.
My mentor says all the time to us, we fail the first 100 times we do anything. Don't beat yourself up over it. You're going to fail the first 5, the first 10, the first 20, first 100 times before we get it right. So
I love failing because it's practice.
That's right.
It's become my life has literally become an adventure. I seriously, I have zero fears, zero worries. I got a ton to be miserable about. Tons of problems, man.
If you chose to dwell on them and look at them as problems,
yes.
a lot of them too.
But here's what I see. I'm looking for people to join me to help me build Live Without Fear, get the message out there, I've been trying to find connections for licensing, figure out licensing and proper merchandising and stuff like that. Plus I'm looking for help with web design and video production, stuff like that. But beyond the Live Without Fear thing, that guy Charles on Messenger, he can help me speak with the National Union who allowed me to lose my job. He can connect me to Mark Diamondstein, the union president. He can also help connect me with the bosses at the post office. And I am pursuing goals. The way I see it is God created a negotiator in me. Okay? I've studied negotiation, sales, sociology, psychology. I am prepared to negotiate. I want to offer my services to the American government to help negotiate peace, to help end conflicts in other nations. Okay. And I believe, the past 2.5 years without an income, dude, I've been surviving on my VA disability for my shoulder. It's like $280 a month. I learned to live on like dehydrated veggies and lentils, man. But I can make some great food.
So your body fat content's pretty low then too.
Well, I given myself a lot of permission with cookies and crap, plant-based sugars. But
Right.
the way I see the post office right now is if I can get them to admit they screwed up based on the past 3 years of denying my employment, plus the potential 9 more years that I should have had. Economically, according to the rules, there should be about $1 million coming my way from the post office.
That'd be nice.
I can go find an attorney and try and go through the courts and all that crap. But if I can get a conversation with the bosses at the post office, I have $1 million bargaining chip. I don't want a penny from the post office for what they've done. If they help me speak with the American government and Donald Trump. Donald Trump appointed Louis DeJoy while I was getting fired. So I figure there's a connection there that he may be able to utilize. And if he wants to save his organization $1 million due to mistakes made by his subordinates, I don't think I should need an attorney and a judge and all this stuff to make that happen.
I tell you what I think on it.
Yeah.
Because we talked about this the last time we spoke, and by all means pursue what the people that you think can get you, that can get you connected, right? Or empower yourself and continue to become who you are and what you are doing these types of things, connecting, podcasting, getting out there, promoting Live Without Fear, which, by the way, I'm more than happy to support you and be on board with that. My wife and I have extensive website development, business management, marketing, manufacturing, all of that stuff. So I can get you.
Let's have a conversation later about that, please.
Absolutely.
Please and thank you.
But I'm happy. I want to be involved with that because it's a great opportunity and a great cause. So, but the point I was getting at was follow this path. Don't allow yourself, this is just a suggestion, don't allow yourself to be disempowered by the belief that you need to have these people help you. Take the power back for yourself. Create the opportunities. You build this and live without fear. And your name and your personality will get in front of the right people. If you are doing this and really focused on it, your reach is going to become in the millions, and the message will get to the right people through their own means. They'll see the video, they'll hear this story, whatever it is. You don't need to rely on somebody else to hopefully open that door, which is what I'm trying to do as well. I'm not relying on anybody to open the door to get me where I want to go. The only way I'm going to get where I want to go is to be seen and to be heard. And the only way I'm going to do that is to continue to do this, to promote, to get in front of as many people as possible. And at some point, the message will hit the right people, the stars will align, and the phone will ring, the email will come. Somebody will say, hey, I got to introduce you to so and so, and that person will connect you to this person. Don't limit yourself in your past of what should have happened, could have happened. It's a great story. It's made you who you are today. But don't limit yourself in thinking that that's the only avenue. I already can
Oh,
see so many other avenues for you. But right
oh,
now, does
I,
that make sense? Only a
it,
success from now.
no, brother, it's good advice, but it's something that I've already faced a long time ago, man, is my acceptance, my absolute surrender, okay? The way I view God. God is God is the future moments, right? God is what is revealed as now and the future possibilities.
Right.
So the problems I see, those came from my memories. If I notice it, it already exists. It must, and so if it's a problem from the past.
Right.
God's got the solutions.
Thank you, quantum physics.
Yes, it's beautiful, and I've released myself from. I don't even really spend a lot of time trying to imagine or manifest anymore because I trust that my spirit and God's plans are perfect, and God knows that my goal is to somehow, if there's a way I may be a part, right? If there is a way that I may play a part in sharing the truth and exposing the light to the darkness that is already visible,
Right.
then that's my goal. And I'm pursuing like I said, we're doing this, right? We're doing this. I've been outlining another YouTube video for myself I may do soon. I've got that other missing link coming up this afternoon. These are the directions I'm going. I'm still pursuing meetings with my local mayor.
Right.
Because I've got solutions for our community too that could help the homeless and the those suffering from addiction.
Right.
So I'm still chasing the local community. I'm trying to reunite with my family. I'm still pursuing journalists periodically. And then the government stuff, man. So
Keep going, brother. Keep going.
we're,
For me, one last thing, and I think we're getting ready to really
yeah, brother.
out. I hear what you're saying on the kind of letting God lead the way. I've been doing, I was doing that for the last year, right? I started focusing more on letting God lead the way, doing what felt right. And my mentor, he said, it's not about what feels right. It's about doing what you need to do in the moment. And that was one thing. But what I realized, I went back kind of what was I doing last year that was helping me to create all these amazing things that I wasn't doing now. And for me, I realized I had gotten really involved with meditating, but I was doing more trying to connect with spirit meditations as opposed to creating and envisioning the reality I wanted. The second month ago or so, the second I started going back and creating and taking the time to meditate on the vision, on what I wanted to play out, exactly the way I wanted it to play out. I was starting to be revealed again as to having visions, as to during meditations, starting to see the future again in terms of this playing out and that playing out. And it wasn't that I was letting God just lead the way. I think that God's like, yes, I'm going to guide you. I'm going to protect you. You don't have to be worried about that. But our work comes in the form that we have to put in the work to create the idea, the image of what we want. God's just not going to go poof, it's here. Right. We have to first build it in our
We
mind.
must seek it and create it. Yes.
Seek and you shall discover, or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I had forgotten. I forgot that, oh, I need to first understand what am I wanting, ask for it, then envision it during my meditations. And before you knew it, things started clicking again. Opportunities started coming up. The stars started aligning. Synchronicities were falling into place. And it's just like, okay, I'm back on path. I got stranded a little bit. I don't think I fell off the path, but I just kind of like I ran out of gas and needed to refill it up. And now that I've refilled it up, I'm cruising, 60 miles an hour up the highway. And it all started with the remembering and envisioning what I wanted versus being it's a victim mentality when it's like, oh, I'm going to sit back and let it happen because that's what God wants. No, God wants us to go out and fucking take charge and create what He's like. I'm watching through your eyes. I'm bored. Fucking do something. I enjoy this peacefulness, but go out and actually make something. Paint a picture and fucking make it happen. It's like I want some excitement. So he kind of kicked me in the ass, more or less. Said, "All right, get back in gear." So if that's advice that can help you, I know it helped me a lot, and
It's
it's just a healthy reminder.
listening to you. It was a healthy reminder. And,
Yeah.
and I was just sitting here reflecting, and my reality, I've stopped. You're right. I gave up. I surrendered and became more passive, I guess, because I fucking failed so many times, man. You don't, I mean, when you fail every single day, every time you turn around, for 3 years, I have failed to successfully communicate. That's what I've failed. I've studied communication. I can't convince people to allow me an opportunity to talk. It's been insane. But you inspired me. I will refocus and gain clarity again on what it is I hope for my future goals. So thank you for the reminder. Good inspiration.
No problem, brother.